Hello, my name is Holt Hanley, and I post forecasting and educational weather videos to YouTube. My daily forecast videos go over all the major weather events across the country, and my educational videos cover the key concepts I learned while earning my master's in meteorology. If you want to see an example of one of my forecast videos, you could keep watching. And if it seems like something you're interested in, you can subscribe to my channel. Thanks for your time. Hello and welcome back to Holt Hanley Weather. I'm going to be giving my final update on Winter Storm Kade as it continues its attack on the Northeast. Right now you got the triple threat. There's heavy winds, extreme freezing, and incredible snowfall rates. So we're going to be looking at those snowfall rates / totals, and then we're going to look at some of the other exciting events going on throughout the entire country over this coming weekend. So let's dive into my screen here, and the first thing I notice is the low pressure system is at 972 millibars. That is extremely low. If this was a little off the coast, this would just be crippling the entire Northeast. Luckily it's a little inland, but we're still getting some extreme snowfall. This is actually setting a February record for low pressure. Unbelievable, and you can see some of the impacts of the storm. Heavy snowfall in parts of New York. They're seeing about a foot to 2 feet of snowfall per hour in some places. The other part of the storm is the freezing rain. You can see all of southern Vermont, New Hampshire, and Maine are just covered in that freezing rain. And then further south, where you get some of that warm air pulling up, more rainfall, especially along the coast where the temperatures are moderated by that warm Gulf Stream. So let's look. This is Friday at 1 o'clock in the afternoon, and you can see this is just the bulk of the storm. It is just attacking the Northeast. And then by Friday night at 7 p.m., the low has already moved off into eastern parts of Maine. It's pretty much done for the Northeast. Northern Maine at this point, though, is still getting some heavy snowfall. That could be in the 0.1, 0.2 inches of snowfall per hour. That's pretty awesome. So let's look at what's going to happen after this storm. So through Saturday, Northeast, you're pretty much in the clear. A high pressure system builds into New York, basically clear skies throughout the entire weekend. And then starting on Sunday night at about 7 p.m., western Pennsylvania starts to get some snow moving in, and then another little snowstorm moves in. Basically all of New York getting some snow early Monday morning. Vermont gets some snow, New Hampshire, and Maine throughout Monday. Rainfall for the southern parts of the Northeast. And then that one's gone. So let's look at some of the totals that we're going to see with Winter Storm Kade. And it's looking even better than it was earlier in the week. 12 inches in parts of northern Vermont, 12 to 13 inches in parts of northern Maine. Again, it's interesting to look at the nice coastline of the Northeast, how they've just gotten none of this snow. And it's because, one, that low has been a little farther inland, and on the east side of a low, think about it, because of its counterclockwise circulation, it's bringing up that warm air from the Gulf Stream. So that's been moderating those temperatures. That's why places like Boston and Connecticut, you've been missing out on this awesome snowfall that has been hitting the rest of the Northeast. Most of New York has about 10 inches with this storm. Pennsylvania, you're more in the 3 to 4 inch range. And then again, by Sunday, that snow is just isolated to the northern parts of Maine. And then let's look at that next system that's going to come through. It's kind of interesting that it is moving through, because once this trough that Kade is a part of moves off, the flow is going to be very zonal, or horizontal if you don't know what zonal means. So this next system, 3 to 4 inches, parts of Pennsylvania, maybe 2 to 3 inches in New York, Vermont, New Hampshire, Maine. Again, Boston, you guys are missing out on this one as well. And then that's going to move through. So it's not much of a storm, and when I show the 500 millibar map, you'll understand why. A big part of this storm, though, has to do with the winds. So you got the heavy snow, we looked at the freezing rain, The other damaging aspect is the winds. And you can see, especially in this map right here, areas around Boston, you can see those streamlines really starting to go in. I'm doing the weather challenge right now, and in my Boston forecast yesterday, I had to double check the models because they were saying 35 to 40 knots of sustained wind, let alone what the wind gusts are going to be. And then as we click through to Friday night and Friday afternoon, you see those heavy winds go from Boston, now they're up into Maine. So that's something to look out for. The heavy winds associated with Kade in the south took down some trees yesterday and even took a couple of lives, which is very sad. There's extreme flooding down there right now. I'm going to look at the south to see what your weekend forecast is looking like. Hopefully you guys get a break so that some of the recovery can start to happen. The last aspect of Winter Storm Kade is the temperatures. Look at the areas where the heaviest snowfall is. Northern parts of Maine, 18 degrees. Northern New York, about 20 degrees. Whereas when you go into like eastern and southern Pennsylvania, 50 degrees. 53 degrees in New Jersey. That's why you guys have missed out on the storm. You're just too warm. Something interesting is going to happen to the temperatures in the Northeast over the weekend. Look at this. Saturday morning, that cold Arctic air has really started to come down. And the reason for that, as the low moves off, think about that counterclockwise circulation again, it's bringing that cold air down from the north to the south. Northern New York, -2 degrees. Makes me happy that I live in California. So Saturday and Sunday, extremely cold. Sunday, even colder. -16 in northern Vermont, -7 in northern Maine, while Pennsylvania, you're going to be in the 14 to 25 degree range. Still freezing. Man, I'm glad I live in California. Let's look at why that cold air is coming down. Well, it's this trough. You see, as it moves off, it really brings that purple cold air down from the north. And then let's look at Monday. That's when that second weird little snowstorm was coming out of nowhere. And let's go to Monday, and I believe it hit Monday morning. It almost looks like there's a little ridge over the Northeast. So it's weird. Oh, here you can kind of see a little bit of a trough. I wouldn't even call that a trough though. So what zonal means is when it's west to east. Whereas earlier in this week, that's what you'd call meridional, where there was the giant ridge over the west, then a giant trough digging all the way down south of Texas. That's what you'd call meridional. This looks about as zonal as it could possibly be. So even though the models were saying 3 to 4 inches of snow, I'm going to go with maybe 0 to 1. I think this storm on Monday is going to be kind of a dud for the Northeast. The other interesting thing to look at is another trough built in over the Northwest, and it turned into a cutoff low off of Southern California. So I'm hoping that brings some surf because right now it's small. And that looks like it could have some possibilities. Let's now look at the Midwest. Right now, there's some snowfall in Illinois, maybe some parts of Michigan, getting that lake effect snow. And then as we move to Saturday morning, minimal snowfall in parts of Indiana and Ohio. Ohio starts to see it in Saturday afternoon. And then it's basically clear. It's pretty much clear throughout Saturday for the Midwest. And then that little system that we saw hit the Northeast, that's going to hit the Midwest first, which makes sense because the flow is just flat. So it makes sense that it'd go straight Midwest right to the Northeast. I think I'm backwards in these videos, so it probably looks like that to you. So pretty good snowfall for parts of Wisconsin, northern Illinois, Michigan. That's some decent snowfall rates in isolated places. Rain in the southern parts of Illinois, and then that system brings up some warm air behind it, and that's going to bring rain to southern Illinois and southern Indiana throughout Sunday into Monday. And some heavy rainfall rates for southern Indiana on Sunday night. Let's now take a look at the south, because like I said, Kade did some damage down there yesterday. There was tornadoes in Alabama, Florida, South Carolina, and extreme flooding. There's been a state of emergency declared in numerous places in the South. Like I said, a couple of lives lost. There was a few situations where trees came down on the road and just took the tops off of cars. It looked pretty messed up. So let's hope that this forecast for you guys for this weekend stays as clear as it looks right now, because that'll allow for some recovery. As you can see at the right side of the screen, that rainfall, that nice strip from Kade, I shouldn't say nice strip, it was bad strip of rain. That's now gone. Thank God. Moving in through Saturday and Sunday, there's some isolated parts of rain and maybe even some snow, but luckily it does not look too bad. I think recovery is going to be about as good as it could be. Luckily, basically all of Saturday and Sunday, especially Sunday, completely clear skies. So if you have recovery to do, now is the time to do it, because as you can see, starting Sunday night and into Monday, see those greens and even yellows, which means heavy rainfall, that starts to build back through the region. So Monday afternoon, Mississippi, Alabama, Georgia, you guys are all getting pretty heavy rainfall rates, especially Mississippi on Monday night. That's in the oranges. That's about 0.5 inches per hour. And then that's going to continue moving through the Mississippi, Alabama, Georgia. Florida, you're kind of missing out on this, which is lucky. And then by Wednesday, that one's kind of moved off. So if you have recovery to do, again, get it done this weekend, because there's another storm system coming on Monday. Let's take one look at the Northwest. I haven't been talking much about the Northwest in my forecast videos recently, and it's because it's just been the same every single day. Heavy rainfall along the Oregon-Washington coast, and then heavy snowfall throughout the rest of the region. Which is exciting, but not so much when it's every single day. I think parts of western Washington had a foot of rain yesterday. Just absolutely unbelievable. There's some flooding up there right now. You can also see there's some heavy snowfall in Indiana right now. Let's look into the Saturday forecast. Heavy rainfall starting Saturday for western Washington. And then you see some of those heavy snowfall rates start to build into central Washington, a little bit into central Oregon, and then heavy snowfall for central Idaho. That is about over 0.2 inches per hour of snowfall for central Idaho. As you see, that low is right above Montana. Let's see if you guys get any kind of break. You haven't had a break in like 2 weeks. So let's see if you can get one by Sunday. Finally, a high pressure system can push its way into the Northwest, and you guys will actually get some clear skies for once. So if you like this video, subscribe to my channel, and I'd love to know what the weather is like in the area where you live. And until next time, thanks for watching.